For the last few days, I've received some messages from some of you guys who are going through a pretty rough time in different areas in life, and that you don't even know when things are going to get better or even how you're gonna get out of that bad situation. Now, there's a lot of different angles in which I could come at this, but what I wanna share with you is one that is very, very simple, that's more of a way in which you can frame everything, and it also works as a reminder. When you're going through those dark times, it's just a way in which you can look at it that makes it way easier. And it is something that I realized personally while I was in one of the darkest periods in my life, and this realization that I want to share with you was extremely helpful. This was at a point in my life in which I was borderline depressed. I had lost a lot of money. I was feeling kind of lonely and isolated, even unmotivated and lost with life. Like, I didn't even know what to do with my life. So basically, things were not going that well for me, right? It felt like this endless abyss of darkness. And when you're going through something like that, it feels as if things are not going to get better because you cannot even imagine how. And then it's like you cannot even understand how you could feel any other way than this. It's like you're living with this filter in your life that everything that you look at, everything that you analyze, it just feels like wrong. You don't have that cool optimism that you can have when things are going great. And the more time that goes by, this is what's dangerous, the more difficult it gets for you to picture how things could be any other way. Now, as bad as things might get, obviously, you're not gonna give up. You have not given up. Otherwise, you would not be watching this video, because here's the thing. You always know there's a very, very tiny part inside of you that always knows there is a chance, regardless of how small it might be, that things will turn out to be better than they currently are. Or at least you'll get out of this bad situation. So from this premise, what I did when I was in this time in my life was realize that this situation in which I found myself into, it was not the first time that I had been here. I had been here before. Maybe it wasn't that bad. Maybe now it was the worst that it's ever been in my life. But the neighborhood of the place where I was emotionally, the emotional neighborhood, I had already been here before. And I had already had these thoughts of, I don't think things are gonna get better. But when I look back at the times in my life when this happened, always, without fail, eventually I got out of it. So I could just logically assess that if I've been able to get out of this before, I can get out of it again. But even more importantly, what I realized is that in life, you don't need the exact proportions of positive outcomes to offset the negative. You only need one win to make up for 100 losses. And this applies to every area in life. That's what I was saying, in dating. Even if you get rejected 100 times in a row, you only need to get that girl once to make up for those 100 losses. Because once you found that one, you're done, you're set. With business, it is the exact same thing. You can fail 100 businesses, it doesn't matter. You only need that one to work out for you to make up for that 100. Even in things like sports, people who cannot commit to sports. Doesn't matter. You try 100 sports or physical activities, you don't like any of them, doesn't matter. Once you find that one that you like, it makes up for all of it. I remember the guy that I learned affiliate marketing from, he used to say this thing, which is like, you're always one ad away from making it and making a lot of money. Because we used to run Facebook ads, promote affiliate offers, and he was always like, it doesn't matter how much you're failing. Tomorrow you could come up with a new campaign, a new offer, something that you're gonna run on Facebook, and then all of a sudden you're gonna make tens, hundreds of thousands of dollars, even $1 million. And the thing is that he was right. And that's how it happened for me. I was trying at the beginning, it was not quite working, but then eventually you find that one, you launch it, it works, and that's it. And you can see it almost immediately. And now here's the thing, what's interesting. Once you get this one thing, you quickly forget about all of the bad stuff that was happening before. Because, for example, with dating, I had been in periods in my life when I was not getting as many girls as I wanted. Maybe I was getting rejected and I was feeling lonely, and I had this feeling of like defeat. It's like, okay, it's over. But then all of a sudden, something happens, things start to click. All of a sudden you get a few numbers, or you get this girl, or you go on a few dates, things start to work out. And it's like now things are great again. And that's why I always try to now never have this conclusive mindset of like, oh, things are going bad or things are going this way or that way. Now I just don't focus on that so much. I just focus on the process itself, and then the outcome, like that's how life works. It's like seasons. Sometimes you're up, sometimes you're down, but it's just the realization that eventually it's gonna come, and even a very small win, it's gonna make up for all of that suffering beforehand. And then when you look back on it, it doesn't seem that big of a deal, right? I remember when I dropped out of university and I wanted to start my first online business, I had to get a job because I had no money. And the job that I had, I didn't like it. The guy I was working for was kind of pretty annoying. And I remember I was pulling like 12, 16-hour work days between my job and my own business, okay, not just business. And I hated it so much, and I was like, man, this is horrible, this is horrible, this is horrible. But eventually, in a matter of like 1 or 2 months, my business started to skyrocket. I made a bunch of money, I quit my job, and I remember like I didn't even care anymore about the fact that I had been struggling for so long, because now I was already out of it. And throughout this period, I was always fantasizing about, oh, I'm gonna tell my boss this when I quit. And when it actually happened and I was able to quit my job, I didn't care. I didn't say anything. I just called him one day and I'm like, hey, I'm gonna quit, I'm done, I'm doing this thing, I don't need the job anymore, whatever. And that's it. It was not such a big drama like I had always envisioned. Because that's the thing, the present in a way is the only thing that exists. It's a classic quote of the past is a memory and the future is an illusion. So technically the only thing that exists is the present. So when you're here in this dark situation in your life, that's all that exists. So it feels like something very major, but once you're out of it, now success is the only thing that exists. And for sure, you can appreciate it even more by the fact that you had to go through this, but all of a sudden, all that suffering, it's not that relevant anymore. And all these realizations that I had throughout the years are what allowed me to understand like these points that I'm trying to convey. The fact that you only need to win once to outset all the negatives, and that once it happens, you're not gonna care for how difficult it is now. Because that's the thing, this thing that you're going through right now, in the future, it's only gonna be a memory of the past. So I hope all of these things are making sense, because for me personally, these are things that when I'm going through these periods that I'm describing right now, it really helps to put everything into perspective and to calm down a little bit and be more grounded. Because sometimes when you're really struggling, it's easy to get very dramatic and be like, oh, this is horrible, things are not gonna work out, I'm stuck here, whatever. But things like this, I think they're really great just to give you a little bit of perspective. So anyways, that's it for this video. I hope you found it helpful. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Follow me on Instagram, send me a DM, because some of you guys, as I said, have been messaging me and I actually love it. So tell me your background, I wanna get to know you guys. And that's it. So hopefully I will see you on the next video. Take care, peace.